Hey, Bryce Tubbs here talking about how to own your own bookkeeping firm. So a lot of people this is a very, very frequently asked question because a lot of people are trying to get into their own firm and they're trying to really grow their business. But there's a lot of common misconceptions that people have, especially when it comes to not only starting, but how to successfully get off the ground and get some traction and make some money. Right. I was talking to this individual about, really setting up a game plan for her to go and grow her business. And if you guys want some help going and growing your business, make sure to click on the link inside the description below to book a call with me to see if I can help you out. But back to what we were saying, like we were on the call and she was thinking about, she has to get all of her insurance correct. She has to get XYZ thing correct. She has to get this right. She has to get that right. And I'm like, dude, like this thing can be a lot easier if you just focused on a couple key aspects. And the key aspects, communicate. Right, so it's communication with a list. So that's number one. Okay. So a lot of people they don't really understand that marketing, growing your business is all about learning how to communicate with people who just have money. Right. And they think that business owners are just like in this far off place and they're inaccessible. Right. And oftentimes what happens is, at least when I was getting started with my accounting and bookkeeping firm, was the only way I would try and go into them is I would go grab like a stack of like flyers in my hand. I'd be like, okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. So this is my brochure. This has my business card stapled to it. And I would go in the front door of the business owners. But then I'd always run into like a secretary, or I'd run into like, they would have like a secretary-less office and you'd have to like try and dial the phone. You'd have to know the right extension. And it was just so hard, right? When instead, nowadays, what I know is like you just have social media. Social media gives you access to every business owner that you ever want to speak to. For the most part, like, there are some business owners that aren't on social media, but I mean, Bill Gates on social media, you can go and talk to him. If you can talk to one of the top, five richest people in the world, you can go and reach your target. It just all comes down to learning how to actually communicate with them. Now, if you struggle with communication, that's going to be the first skill that you need to kind of develop and need to pick up. Now, when I say communication, I don't mean that you have to be like a public speaker and you're speaking in front of like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you need to be able to talk to someone on a one-on-one level, even if they have like them and their business partner, be able to just talk to them, understand their pain, understand their problems, ask the right questions, and make it very easy for them to really trust you. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that trust is from like you just displaying your expertise and your experience and you just talking for like 45 minutes about, what you can do and what your background is. That actually does not necessarily bring up trust. In a lot of cases, the business owners who you're speaking to are not impressed, especially if they've been having consultations with other accountants and bookkeepers. And you generally start sounding very similar to the other competitors, right? And when you start sounding like all the other people who they've already said no to, they're going to start lowering the amount of money that they actually want to pay you. By the end of the call, it's just going to come out as like they're trying to pay you like $200 a month, $100 a month, right? So we have to make sure, instead of trying to tell, you ask questions, you get them to talk about their story, right? Because most people don't actually ask questions and most people want to talk about themselves. So if you can actually take that aspect of human nature and kind of like turn it on its head, then it's going to be way easier for you to grow and get people to trust you. For example, what I used to do whenever I go to either like a church or a networking event, or even if I would like do like a schedule call from like LinkedIn, I'll literally just get on the phone and listen to someone talk for 15 minutes. Like, I won't say anything. I'll just ask this, and then I'll ask another guiding question, then another guiding question, then another guiding question, then another guiding question. And then once I know exactly like every single one of their pain points, then I'm writing down like on a sheet of paper. Let's say, for example, I have like a sheet of paper, and this is the note-taking sheet that I give to all of my students and even people inside of my Facebook group. It's called the belief sheet. If you actually want it, then you can go ahead and just write belief sheet inside of the comment section below, and I'll send it to you, or send you a link to go and put it on like website so you can just download it. This thing cost me like 20 grand. But on this side, it has all the leading questions that I need to ask. And on this side, it has every time that I hear someone say something, I can write down a note about it. Then I can also say, okay, so this is my point I'm going to use. This is the next point I'm going to use. This is the next point I'm going to use. This is the next point I'm going to use. And boom. And there, so on and so forth. And it allows me to be very flexible and very, very relevant when I do finally open my mouth and talk about the experience I have, right? Because when you're talking to someone, you only want to say things that are relevant to them, to their situation, and to what they're going through. That right there is the key thing, right? Whereas a lot of people, like, especially when you're nervous, you generally start really clamming up. You stop thinking. You start going into kind of like that fear dinosaur brain, and it's just like kind of like fight or flight mode. You're just talking, 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 or you stop really considering how the other person feels. Your empathy level goes down, and then instead you're just trying to like kind of defend yourself by using your words to kind of build yourself back up, right? Instead, you got to be able to just kind of take a deep breath, relax, and then go into the situation. Now, the second thing that's really, really, actually, let's even take a step back. So who's a really good example of this? So one of my students named JT, he's amazing at this. He knows how to use silence. So a lot of people, they get very, very uncomfortable. So oftentimes, like when you're in a consultation call, when you talk about money at the end of the call, like you say your price, then you kind of just stop talking. Most people, they say the price and they say, well, this thing, and then 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 this thing. And the business owner hasn't even said whether they, think it's a high amount of money or a low amount of money. Instead, communication skills, you got to say your price and then stop talking and let them start talking, because they're going to start talking themselves into actually working with you. And that's why it's going to be so important, because they're going to just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about your price until they're like, okay, let's do this thing. But that's a communication skill you really have to kind of learn and kind of understand. Number two, okay, the second most important thing when you're trying to own your own bookkeeping firm that most people don't understand is you need to really be goal and number oriented. Whenever I hear someone, they're like, I don't really care how much money I make, or I'm not really in it for the money, or I don't really think about the money. Those are generally the people that don't make any money. Whatever you want and whatever you focus on is going to grow. If your focus is on like, I don't have enough time in my life, well, you're going to keep not having time. And it's going to keep getting blaringly and blaringly more obvious that you don't have time. If it's that you don't make enough money in your life, right, it's going to keep getting blaringly and blaringly and blaringly obvious. If it's that, you have so many clients and you don't really, know how to offhand it and offsource it and outsource it and subcontract it, you're just going to keep getting more and more clients, and you're going to have less and less time, and you're going to feel more and more overwhelmed. So we have to always make sure that we're keeping track of our goals and where we're going. For example, one of my students, his name is Mike. When he first came into the program, he was doing between $15,000 to $18,000 a month with his business. And the first question I asked him was like, okay, so cool. So you're working all these hours, you're going, it sounds kind of like a tornado because you're all over the place. You have all these clients, and you know, what's next for you? Like where do you think that you're going? Like, do you have a plan? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm not saying that to be mean. Like, it wasn't like a mean. That's literally how it was. It was just, he's like, I just don't know. I'm like, well, you have to start considering like what happens when you're at 18. Like, in order for you to go and get to like 25 or 30 grand a month, you need to be able to learn how to go and add on clients without directly selling your time. And that was really the big epiphany that he had, where it's just like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I can sell it and then I can just tell him that other people are going to do the work. And we had to kind of make like a script and make a way for him to be able to present that option to the person, so they didn't feel like uncomfortable, or they didn't feel like he was just, giving it off to like some grunt, and like the work was going to get done at a very, very high level. But once he was able to do that, then he was able, like right now, I think he's about to go and be at about 50 grand a month probably within the next 2 to 3 months. Right. So we got started working together in December. He's picked up client for about 8 grand a month. He's picked up one for about 7 grand a month. He has three consultation calls this week with some people who need about 15 hours worth of work. He charges about $100 an hour. Then we're going to outsource some stuff. He had another call with a referral partner who had to refer him 2 clients. So we're still waiting on that. But I mean, dude, like it's ridiculous. He's already increased by 8 grand a month. And it's only been probably about, I think we had 5 coaching calls. It's just one of those things, man, where it's like when you start getting really good at this stuff, like movement happens really quickly. Like some people ask me, like, Bryce, like, how can I go and add an extra 10 grand a month? How can I go and add an extra $100,000 a year to my income? It's just like, you got to be very, very, very skilled about it and very, very precise, right? Because for him to get to 50 grand, it's not about him just brute forcing, just getting as many clients as he wants. He has to be very, very strategic, very calculated. And then he has to make sure that he knows who he's going to actually outsource the work to. Generally, for me, I always have people like subcontracted out to other people inside of the program, my mentorship program I'm talking about. Since there are some students that are just like really great at getting clients. There's other students where they're just learning the ropes, they're trying to get better, trying to get better, trying to grow and trying to grow. And one thing we do to kind of help them get more money a lot faster is we actually have one of the bigger students subcontract work out to the smaller students. And it's just a really cool kind of like fringe benefit that you get as, you know, a part of being a part of like a program like this. Now, I'm not saying you're just going to come in, you're not going to do any work, and everyone's just going to feed you money, or else, you know, like you're upset. Like, I'm not saying that. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you need a boost and you can go make friends, which is the exact same process I teach you how to use to go and get clients, then you're able to go and get some referrals, and you're able to go and get like subcontracting work, and things move a lot easier and a lot faster. And those are the two main mistakes I see people making. One is not being able to really work on their communication skills. And two, I see that they just don't have any visions or goals, and it's not really properly defined. And it causes you to struggle a lot longer than you have to. I do have to get going because I do have a call I'm scheduled for right now, but I just decided to be able to, you know, kind of talk and kind of come to you just to make sure you don't make the same mistakes I made when growing my business. Now, if you want some help going and growing your business, maybe you're an accountant or you're a bookkeeper, either you're thinking about getting started, you've been started, but you're not seeing the progress you want. Maybe you just like me and my videos, or maybe you're in a great place, but you want to go to the next level. Go ahead and click on the link either above or below the video, and I'd love to schedule time with you to see if I can help you. Everyone's a little bit different, so we do have to make a custom strategy for you, and that's the main reason for doing the call. So you have to say, okay, where are you now? Where do you want to go? Like, what's that vision for you? What's that future look like? And then once we have those two things, I can go add those two together and then make a really custom strategy for you. And we can accomplish that together when we work together inside of one of the programs. So if that's you and you want some help, go ahead and click on the link either above or below the video. I'd love to see you inside the call. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later.